right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Topical Tuesday for October 5th. Today, we're going to be talking all things Battle of the Books. Before we get started, please make sure your microphone is muted when you aren't speaking. And please use the question option. That'll help us really keep track of all of the questions, particularly for our media specialists who are sharing today. That way we can take a look at those questions. Before we get going, I've got a quick poll. And are you planning to sponsor at least one Battle of the Books team this year? And while you're voting on that, we have so many new people. I wanted to give a quick description of what Battle of the Books is. Battle of the Books is a fun, friendly competition. The kids read the books from the SSYRA 3 to 5, SSYRA 6 to 8, and the FTR lists. They compete in a trivia competition based on the books. It is a 20-minute long quiz. They will work together as a group, and you answer as many questions correctly as you can. Tell the kids not to spend too long on any one particular question, because it is more important to get through many questions and get as many right as possible. The kids are going to be in teams of 3 to 5. So we've got some goals with Bob, and I know everybody has their own individual goals with Bob, but the overall goals of the Bob competition are to encourage independent reading for personal satisfaction, to broaden their reading interests by exposing students to a variety of genres. They may find that they don't like all the books on the list, and that's really okay. It promotes collaboration and teamwork. It promotes creative thinking and problem solving. The kids are going to really have to work together on that online battle, and if they make it to the grand battle. It helps them improve their reading comprehension and their reading skills. It promotes some healthy competition based on mutual respect. It promotes academic excellence and the highest student achievement. And it helps promote the Sunshine State Young Readers Award books and the Florida Teens Read books. This is this year's timeline. We have, it's pretty similar to last year. Everything is just about a week later. So the battle will end January 31st. In February, we are going to announce the top 2 teams. February 4th through 5th, teams will accept the invitation to the grand battle. And February 11th will be the grand battle at the Education Network. This year, everything should be back to mostly normal. We may be wearing masks at the grand battle, but we will still be in person, if not socially distanced. Registration will open November 8th. I have a couple of slides that I made that I'd be happy to share with all of you. These have information about each of the Sunshine State readers. This is the 3 through 5, and there's one for 6 through 8, and there's one for the FTR books. I will be more than happy to share these. You can customize them as you wish. You can change the links, but at least you've got all of the books. That's the biggest battle. And if I clicked on any one of the books, if I hover over it, I click on stamped, it's going to take me to a teaching books video, right? So they can find out more information about the book. It'll help them know what the book is about, what they are interested in, what they're not interested in. Everybody is always interested in the awards and how we figure this out. So every participant in Bob gets a Bob certificate, no matter if they answer one question correctly or they answer all 300 questions correctly. Teams that score above the median score will receive dog tags and a certificate. We take that median score and we look at all of the teams that scored above that, and that's how we determine who gets the dog tags. The top 2 teams in each division will be invited to the grand battle of the books. Only one team per school can compete in the grand battle. We have had this happen. It does happen. It happened last year. I won't say which division, but it happened this year. We had to go through the tie break. We had several teams from one school that were the top 3 or 4 teams. Okay? Each team in the grand battle will get medals and a dog tag, and the winning team in each division takes home the Kavanaugh Cup for the year. So now I want to invite our elementary panelists to come talk about how they run Bob at their school. So whoever wants to start first, just go ahead and unmute and talk about how they do Bob at their school.
I'll volunteer to go first, unless Caroline's going to do it. Are you going to do it, Caroline? Go ahead. At South Olive, we have been doing the Battle of the Books mostly with our language arts teachers with the media specialist. And we do a lot of book tastings to kick it off. And that looks different in every classroom. And now that I'm in the media center, it'll look different in here. But having all the books and having every kid taste a little was a good kickoff. And the kids love to know that they're going to get beautiful certificates. I love the Bitmoji classrooms that Lisa made. Those are awesome. The kids have been poring over them, and having the ebooks in McAnvia really helped to get us started. I'll just start with that and let someone else go.
Okay, am I good to go? Okay, so the way we've done Battle of the Books has been different with COVID and before COVID. But before COVID, which is what I'm hoping to do, is so it's for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So I invite all the 3rd graders that are interested in Battle of the Books to the media center in the morning. I explain how it works and all that, and they create their own teams. And then I do the same thing for 4th grade and 5th grade. And after school, I have a Battle of the Books book club kind of per se. And I've done it where like 3rd grade is on Tuesday, 4th grade is on Wednesday, 5th grade is on Thursday. And then I rotate it the next week in case kids have other after school activities. It's not mandated. It's just drop in and let's practice our questions. And sometimes we make posters or battle questions, or it's different every time. So that's how I did it before COVID. Last year, I was trying to do it and be a little bit more safe, I guess is the word. But I had each classroom came up with one team. So it was the team, homeroom teacher, whatever it was. And then they actually competed during media when they came to class. If that makes any sense. And that's it.
I'll go next. Thank you, ladies, for starting us off. I know when I was at Panther Run, I did it as an after-school club as well, just like Caroline. Here at Timber Trace, I am able to do it in the afternoon. So we're done teaching by 1:30. So the teachers are super kind enough to send their kids in. I think one of the biggest things with Battle of the Books is fostering those relationships and working that collaborative angle with your teachers, because they're allowing me to steal those kids out and their curriculum time or whatever. So they come into the media center before COVID. It was whole group. I mean, there was a ridiculous amount of kids in here, 3rd grade and then 4th grade and 5th grade. Last year, because we have 2 gifted units on each grade level, and pretty much they all compete. So that is a ridiculous amount of teams. So I usually host them on one day and then the rest of the grade level on another day. We use Book Taco, which we all have accounts with, and that is a great way to get some questions. You can also print the reading counts questions, the 30 questions, and use those. I've done that before. You don't have to tell them where they're coming from. Just tell them I found some review questions for you. That way they don't know that you're actually giving them the answers. So those are 2 great resources for your questions. And if you go to they love, especially at the end when we're wrapping up and it's dismissal time and they're leaving out in droves, we do the from the SSYRA website, FAME website, they have the first line or lines from the book, and I'll mix all those up and call them out, and they love those. So that's a great way to review the books and the characters and who said what. So that's a big, big thing. One of the other things I focus on, I say battle the books, and they're like, what do you mean battling? I'm like, well, we're not battling with weapons. We're battling with our minds. So they think they're like super ninjas with their minds and stuff. But I do think the biggest piece of that is the collaboration with the teachers. The kids are plenty excited about it. We also have 3 to vote, 5 to battle. We have a minimum at our school that you have to read 5 in order to be on a battle team. And then we also do a big reward at the end of the year, which in pre-COVID was always an author luncheon. The kids who read all 15, which I mean, on average, I would have about 30, 40 kids that would read all 15 Sunshine State books, and they would get to come to lunch with whatever author I hosted through BAM. And that was super awesome. So last year we just had to have like a indoor pool party and make up something crazy because we weren't allowed to have an author on campus. But kids really look forward and they feel super special if they finish all 15. So I think that's it.
We've had a couple of questions. They're not familiar with Book Taco and the 30 questions. Can you please elaborate?
Yes, Book Taco is a website, one that we have access to. And I used to love it more because it's just like Reading Counts, where they have the question and the 4 answer choices. And previously they would tell you whether you got it right or wrong. This time they don't, they just mark it wrong, and you'll see it gives you 10 questions. And so each meeting that we have, like Caroline has with her club, I'll try to get through 3 books in that time. So we'll go over those 10 questions using Book Taco. The 30 questions I was referring to is from Reading Counts. If you go into Reading Counts and under the book tab, when you look it up, you can go to print quiz down on the left-hand side. Once you look at the book, you can print the actual 30 questions that are in the database along with the answer. So in case you didn't get to read one of them, you can use a cheat sheet. Okay, that I don't know. So
I don't either. Let's see. And the names of the characters, where did you get that? I think the first lines of the books. Where did you get that?
So that is on the Sunshine State on the FAME website. When you click on each book, I don't have it here. It's out on my desk. Today we did the Facebook live chats, which are another good thing. I'll mention that. Okay, so Facebook live chats, the Sunshine State puts them on there and you get to talk to the authors. Today was Roll With It. So I invited in a bunch of 5th graders who read the title and actually had a guest speaker come in that had cerebral palsy to talk to the kids about some of the frustrations and working with an aid and stuff. So if you can personalize it and show them the Facebook live chats, they really, really like that. And did I answer the question before that? Oh, so if you click on the book covers, it'll pull up resources, and it has discussion questions, activities. So it's usually about 4 pages long for each book title. And it's near the back, or the last page is where those one-liners are coming from the book.
All right. We had another question, which was, and that goes to any of the elementary. Have your students started reading the books yet? Do they only read them in language arts? I'm seeing a lot of yes, that they've started reading the books yet. And I think 1 no. Yes, they've started reading the books. They don't only read them in language arts.
My kids started reading them over the summer because just like when the lists come out, like Tempe and Caroline, you guys, we send it out. So my kids are allowed, they start reading them over a summer. Our goal is to try to read 1 over the summer for their like summer required reading. And then, in order to join a battle team, they should have at least read 2. And we do start usually October. I'm meeting my first 3rd grade team tomorrow.
All right, Michelle.
Hi. Yeah, I typed in the chat box there. Is there a parent letter that you guys send home once the kids, if there's an interest, like, is there like just a informational thing for the parents, for the kids that are chosen or who are interested, or no?
No.
No? Okay. I didn't know. I mean, this is the first time I'm doing it. We do a lot. I have like about 10 kids right now that did all 15 books, and they take their quizzes. So it's an incentive we do. And we usually at the end of the year have close to like 75 to 100 kids that finish all 25. When I say all 25, we add on the nonfiction books to make it 25. I call them Sunshine States to get the nonfiction. But anyway, I'm interested in doing it this year, and I'm just going to start out with 1 group, but I just didn't know about a parent letter going home. So if there's nothing there,
You know what? I do a permission slip that I just write myself, but I also have a Google Classroom where if you're interested, kids can join, and I put a lot of the resources that they're mentioning, and so the parents know what's what.
Okay, that's good.
Because I have done it through fine arts, but I've also done it before school and after school, because we've got such a big window. And last year we had to figure out who was online, who was live, who was a combination team. And was there any cross grades? Last year I begged the kids just to stay on one grade level, like third grade, just for my sanity.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start small this year, and then we'll pick it up from there. That's good. Okay. Thank you.
Before we move on to secondary, we had one more question, which was, can you help with the organization of how you organize your battle?
I can talk a little bit about it because my school doesn't have the massive participation that Shannon and Michelle and Caroline's does. Like, I'm pulling teeth to get kids to participate. But one thing I do is I push the books starting the first week of school on morning announcements and advertise them and show little book videos about them. And I only say you have to read 3 to be on a team. And I let them read any 3 they want. And I don't let them make their own teams. And I put together the teams so that all 15 books are covered between the 5 students. And so when they sign up, they tell me which 3 books they've read. They've already taken the reading counts quiz on it. So at least I know that they're not lying. And that helps me organize the teams a little bit better. I don't have a lot of teams. Last year I had 1 team with 3 kids, and that was it. So, but we do use Bookteca. We use reading counts. We do book talks. I make my own quizzes, and we do it before school from 7:30 to 8. Once a week, and we start in November and through January. So it's really short and sweet, but we get it done. That's about it.
I want to jump on what Temple just said. I thought of 2 things. I went to PTO at our school and asked them to please buy a copy of each of those books for every homeroom. And they did fundraisers to get the junior copies for K through 2 and the regular ones. So every classroom had them in the room besides what was in the media center. And that was helpful. I also let them dress up and got the principal to let them create their own costumes for their team and come up with like a team little name. That really helped me pull together some of the teams. And it helped them do the strategy of, we got to cover the books. We have 3 we don't have covered. Who's going to read them? So I throw that out. It makes great pictures. And when kids see the pictures of the kids dressed up fun, it does add a little for next year.
All right, well, we're going to move on to our secondary strategies, and I don't know who would like to start first, because it looks a little different at every school, and it certainly looks different at the secondary level than the elementary level.
I'll go, Lisa.
Go ahead, Alonzo.
All right, so in order I'll start with how I recruit. I obviously make the announcement and put up signs around the school, but I also grab my heavy readers that I see every single day, and I start hyping up Battle of the Books with them very early. So they're already looking for teammates and partners and getting ready to go before I even announce the first day. As far as the questions go, I do use reading counts, but what I do also is I make every week when we meet, I have the kids who are reading bring in questions from the books they're reading on note cards. And then I take all those questions after our meeting and I put together a Kahoot quiz using the questions that the kids made up. And then every week we just do different Kahoot quizzes with their questions. So the kids start to figure out that if they make more questions, they have a better chance of winning the Kahoot quiz that week. So eventually I get more questions that I can even deal with. And then we start working on changing our questions to match the way the questions are asked in Battle of the Books. So we'll start saying all the questions have to start with, in what book does so-and-so say this? And so that way we keep the same format as the test questions. The kids are making their own questions, which helps them remember the story a little better as they read. And then we practice that every single week with their teams. So even if Johnny hasn't read a certain book, maybe his teammate has, and they can answer the question. And if they haven't, and they hear that question, then they know, okay, we need to hurry up and read this book so we don't get that question wrong next time. My teams have been forming usually on the first day of our meeting, we form teams. But like I said, I've already got kids we haven't met yet, but I've got kids that are already out there talking to their friends and getting teams made already. What I usually do is let the kids pick the teams because I want it to be fun for them. And then if there's anybody who doesn't have a team, I work on matching them up with other people. So basically it's the kids run the whole thing. And how do I keep track of who is reading what? I make a list every meeting, and we start every meeting by collecting quiz questions, and then we move into trading books. And then I go through and I keep a list of everybody, all their teammates, all their teams, and what books they've read. And I basically just do checks. So once I have little Johnny's read all 15, he's got 15 checks across the board. And then I have a little celebration for him or whatever. I try to make it a big deal for the kids to read all 15. We meet about once a week in the morning for about half an hour.
So, and Shannon just put up a great suggestion, which is her neighboring middle school media specialist asked her for her top readers. So middle schools, you might want to reach out to your elementary schools, figure out who those top readers are, and then you could approach those kids when they come to middle school. Rebecca,
they usually show themselves really quickly. The top readers, they pop
do.
up real quickly. Yeah,
they do. All right, anyone else secondary ready to share?
I'll share.
Thanks, Nora.
Well, lately, this year has been really difficult because I ended up helping with a math class and the library was shut down. So I haven't really started my my Battle of the Books program for this year. Today is actually the very first day that I am not with 2 classes doing math with the library closed this year. So I'm hoping to get things rolling in the next week or so. Usually what I do is I have a meeting after school, although since our school became a choice school, it's been harder to find my top readers because they're all participating in STEM activities and robotics club. And so I tried doing mornings. My most successful program was, and it goes back to something that Alonzo said. He said kids are running things. The one year that we went and won the Battle of the Books, I had one team that was just dynamic. They were friends. They were really competitive. They all loved to read. And they start to finish, they did it all. We would meet, we'd go over the books, they would quiz each other. The last few years, I've been using battle questions. I've been purchasing some questions so that the kids can have something to go by. I don't know if it's successful or not because it sort of coincides with when our robotics team really took off. And our top students, I would say, are on not only the robotics team, but the academic games team. So it's very hard to pull them. The last 2 years, I was not given a club status, so I haven't had a club. But basically, I think it really depends on the kids. If they have buy-in, then you have a great team. This year I am using brag tags. I can already see I have about 3 or 4 students who are like devouring the books. One student is 1 book away from finishing all 15, and another one is 3 books away. So I'm hoping to get started with my Battle of the Books team, I guess, in the next week.
Great. Thanks, Nora.
You're welcome.
I can go ahead. I'm at a high school, so it's a little bit different as far as secondary is. I did want to just show something quickly, if that's okay.
Go ahead. Let me stop sharing.
So firstly, for organizing the kids, the first thing I do is like between the beginning of school and November, all students have to do is read. And I have an internal copy of this, and they add their names, and then they can check off the books as they're reading them. That way they can see who's reading books that are different from theirs. And then really the kids recruit other kids. So depending on how many students we have, I try to pair them up accordingly. I usually make a team captain, and that's usually someone who was on it the year before, and that person usually runs the mouse when we do our battles. But the kids just through November just read and mark off the books they've read. As far as promoting it, I have a permanent Florida Teens Read display that has the past 5 years or so, the sequels and the winners highlighted. And then our current Battle of the Books books are on this special black table. They're always on the same table. They have the little descriptions from the FAME website and the annotated lists from it. In high school, it is also like pulling teeth to get students to participate. And usually you're as successful as your kids are passionate about it. But my very first year I did it, we took second place across the district. We did third the year after, and then I think third 2 years after that. Last year I only had one team. This year I'm hoping just to get 2 teams, but the teams that I get are still really strong because they're the ones that are passionate about it. I promote it on the classroom announcements, our library's website. We have Scholastic TVs that play, so I have like flyers on there. And so I use battle questions. So in November we form teams, and then in December I try to have 2 practices, and then in January I have 1 practice. Usually I'll pull the kids during a common lunch or during a common elective. And when we come in, we use the battle questions, and I try to mirror the actual battle as much as possible. So I'll give them 20 minutes to answer a certain number of questions, and I'll give them their preliminary score. Then we'll target where we were weakest, the books we're weakest on, make sure all books are covered. We come back and practice again, see if they've improved or where their holes still are. And then in January, it's like the final practice before the battle. I always try to give my teams advice to have everyone read the question silently and shout out the answer if they know it. And even though the answers don't go A, B, C, D, I try to say, shout out A instead of the entire answer of the question, because your brains automatically know how to find A, B, C, D quickly on a quiz instead of having to read each of the answers. And I also tell them, if you don't have an answer, you spend 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pick something and move on. And then once the question's been answered, never talk about it or think about it again. And that usually helps them. But our captains usually was on it the year before, so they kind of know what they're doing.
Right. Thanks, Rebecca. All right, Amy, go ahead before I have Christine share.
I was just going to add that at high school, it helps if you partner with your reading teacher or teachers.
Oh, and we also read We Are Not From Here as our first book club book. So that gave me an opportunity to talk about it too. And our book club this year has been like the most successful year ever. We have a lot of strong readers. So that's very exciting.
All right, Christine?
Hey, so I'm at a high school too, and I agree. It's they're so busy and they're everywhere. It's difficult sometimes to just get them all in one place. So yeah, advertising right out of the gate is definitely important. I have like a virtual classroom. I'll email past Battle of the Book participants. And pretty much everything else that people have mentioned. And then I set up a Google Classroom. So as they're interested, they join the classroom. I leave a survey in there as well for them to fill out. So it kind of asks what their availability is, if there's anyone they know they want to be on a team with, and different things like that. And so I use that survey to kind of plan one meeting where like as many participants, or people that are interested can show up, and we'll form teams that way. So I've already done that for the year. I have 3 teams going right now. And then from there, I have the kids just kind of decide how frequently they want to meet with just their team members. So I do it a little differently. And they do it during lunch. So they're at school, because we actually have just one lunch period at my school. So they can, if they want to meet every week or once a month, it's up to them. And so I can work with them a little more individually, doing practice questions and things like that, battle questions. I actually read some of the books and write my own questions. as well. And so we just kind of go from there. I always, because again, they're high school, I always encourage them to start their own group chat as well. Because sometimes, I send out emails and we use remind.com and no answer. Somebody just kind of drops off the face of the earth. So if they're all on a group chat, then at least I can get one of their team members to kind of get a hold of them. So I think that's kind of probably a high school issue that, they're not always all on campus and things like that. But yeah, and so we're kind of having some of our individual team meetings right now, and just when they're there, they choose the books. They decide as a group who's going to cover what books. I write it down. And then I keep physical copies of the books in my office so they can just come in, grab what they want, check them out. And yeah, they're responsible. They're very much their own teams and responsible to just check in with me every once in a while to see how they're doing.
Great, thank you. Debbie, go ahead.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry I was running around. We have a faculty meeting too, on top of just finishing ACT a little bit. So what I did was very similar to what Nora and Rebecca and Christine did. I have a page, obviously a Google Classroom, and I said to the students, I want to offer this as a community service award to you. So if you stay through with this and you start your reading in the summer and you come through and you finish up in January to go ahead with the actual battle, which is, it's only 20 minutes. It's only 20 minutes. You get 20 community service hours. If you bring someone into the group, you get another 5. And I have to have, this year, these kids took it a completely different way. Things were very different last year. We had a virtual team and we had an in-person team. So that was interesting too. Many of you have experienced this. But what I did was, as soon as I could find out what the books were, when the title was released, I went ahead and I got one of each of the titles from Thorndike Press, and we just did the processing ourselves basically in large print. And so I already had students that I knew were going to come in through our intensive reading teachers. So I pitched the books to them. I let them check it out over the summer. They read the book, so they got a head start. Everyone else, if they wanted to, could read from Mac and Via online, which they like doing. So now I have a bunch of students who have come in and they actually approached me, and everyone wants a title and everyone wants to do something. So I open the meeting. I share, I have refreshments, light refreshments, just bottles of water and bags of chips. And they sat down. I showed them what it looked like based on one of the previous YouTube films that you had. And so everyone, all the girls and the guys decided that one of the people who has done it for 2 years in a row, and actually middle school, said, we want you to be the president. So they all picked roles, and then we meet once a month. So it's after school. I make sure everyone has transportation home. We've put things up on the Google Classroom, and they've already started making chapters. We have a scribe, so they do annotation. So any of the work goes to her. She puts all the notes up so that the students can read it. And this week tomorrow we're working on new flyers. We have a social media with Canva. She uses Canva. So she's putting out on the flyers. Everything gets proofed by me before it goes on. And we have TV production with our morning announcements, and any of the flyers we put around school not only have to be proofed by me, but the principal has to give approval also. So we've been doing this since summer. Right now, I just went in last week to our intensive reading classes, and they know that they will be able to read any of the other students who haven't already selected their books in large print. They will be able to read, and that's part of their intensive reading book. That instead of having to select one from their own classroom, they can choose one from Florida Teen Reads. So they're happy about that. They have a lot of fun. And last year I had, from just Battle of the Books, I decided to continue giving the students an opportunity to earn community service hours. We had 49 students in our school. I had one from West Boca High School who joined our group. I guess one of her friends from here told your student, and so they joined and they got some community service hours. And I verify it. I send all their stuff electronic to them, so they have the forms signed by me. We had 2 from Park Vista and 1 from Olympic Heights. So a lot of great things come from this, but mostly we are a community of readers, and that's where we get community service. So it's a win-win. It's a lot of fun. It happens really quickly. And before you know it, they're like, wait a minute, that's it? No, that's not it. I said, okay, what book do you want to read next? So, and that's how it blossomed into, we read 3 more books through the year, and everyone got additional community service hours. It's a lot of fun.
I love it. I love the community of readers, and particularly with COVID, it's been so hard for our kids to get their community service. I think it's wonderful. So I'm just going to turn it over to everyone. Are there any questions before I run through our announcements?
Oh, Alonzo, what school are you at?
I'm at Eagles Landing Middle School.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Do I have any questions for my panel? Go ahead, Betty.
I just wanted to know, usually the lists come out at the end of the year. How do you guys get do you just use your Scholastic or your money from media to buy those books? How does that work? Because I'm struggling to be able to get my principal to buy books. Did you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead, Nora.
Well, I'll tell my secret. The first day the books come out, I get on the telephone with Scholastic and I go through the list of 15 titles and I ask which ones they have for book fair points. And usually I get somewhere between 3 and 4, maybe 5 books. One year we got lucky and they had a ton of them. So I used my book fair points as a jumping off ground. And I also use those to buy extra copies because I know that, really only 5 copies count for our, libraries. And I don't want to just flood my library and spend all of my library funds. I also do a lot of fundraising. So I use those funds. I went to PTSA and asked for money. And I also went to SAC and asked for money. And because it was, I presented it as helping literacy. And, they awarded me monies for my Sunshine State books. So that's how I basically get monies for my program.
I used to fund it through my book fairs as well.
Mm-hmm.
I say Shannon takes cash from her book fair. She saves the money to buy them at the end of the year. Anyone else have anything they want to share about how they get the books?
Another thing you can do is if your school does class reads and any of the FTR books align with that, like our incoming 9th graders, we're all going to read Stamped this coming year. And so that's usually a SAC purchase. You could also ask SAC and PTSA to buy them.
And Alonzo, I see your question. That isn't a requirement for us to have 20 kids to show up. That might be a school requirement, but we don't have a requirement of only 20 kids. All kinds of public libraries have them. That's great. I just have a couple of things that I wanted to share with you guys. The technology conference is coming up on October 15th from 8:30 to 4. Register at technologyconference.palmbeachschools.org. There will be a media specialist track. That is our PD for that day. The next PDD day, we have Sparking Change in Your Media Center. It'll be November 11th at Palm Beach Gardens High School. John Long is going to join us that day. You can register at e-learning with keyword Sparking Change. Please join Emma. Go to bit.ly/EMAPBC and join us. We have lots of members programming that's coming up, including a October members share tank on October 12th at 2:30, and a PLC for points. So please, please, please come join that as well. Join Emma and join us in the conversation about leading from the library this year more than ever. It is so, so important to advocate for your library program. Please keep tweeting, keep sharing, keep doing those things because it's so important. Upper leadership and your principals need to see the value that you add to your school. We know you add value every single day just by being there and doing what you do, but our principals don't understand it. So the more you shout it from the rooftops, the better it is. So come join us, learn about leading from the library and advocating. December 1st through 3rd, FAME in person in Daytona Beach. Agreed, Caroline. Tweet, tweet, tweet. Please join us in Daytona for FAME. We want to see a large Palm Beach County presence there. It would be so exciting. And like Caroline said, tweet, 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 tag us. Tag me, tag Nolan, tag Library Current, tag your upper leadership. Don't be afraid to tag them. They really do pay attention. They know, they watch, they listen. If you are looking for points, please register for this course in e-learning. You can get up to 20 points, and it's a one-stop follow-up for all of them. If you can't attend all of them, you can get points just by watching the recordings. It's a super easy follow-up and up to 20 points. Great for recertification. And next time we are going to be meeting on October 19th. We're going to be exploring WorldBook. There are so many features I didn't know existed in WorldBook, and WorldBook is going to come share those features. They even have a citation generator within WorldBook. So they're going to share all of those new features. Thank you to everyone who came and shared. I appreciate all of you coming and sharing your strategies with everyone else in the community. I'm excited for a bigger and better Battle of the Books from last year. Thankfully, we are all in person. None of this virtual, in person, no media specialists having to press the answer inside of a Google Meet. We had a Google Meet within a Google Meet within a Google Meet at our finals. It was insane. It worked. We pulled it off for the kids, but we want this year to be bigger than ever. Thank you so much for joining us and staying. I know we went a little bit long. I do value your time. And I'm so happy you could join us. Thank you for coming today.